Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim wa sallallahu ala Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. Thank you so much for being here. This is the Travelers Podcast. I'm Brother Ali. Just want to say real quick at the beginning that I dropped a new album, a new project today called Brother Minister Volume 2, the Üsküdar Sessions. Üsküdar is the neighborhood that I live in on the Asian side of Istanbul, on the Asian side of the Bosphorus. It seems like Europe and Asia, there was a line drawn that was particularly just a political construct. However, it is the coming together of Europe and Asia. Üsküdar is a neighborhood just directly on the Asian side of Istanbul. And it's a magical place, a beautiful place. I've been living here for 5 years now with my family. My two youngest daughters, this is all they've known. This is their home. And it's a place that I really credit with being a really healing reality in my life and in my family's life. And there's a number of religious Westerners that live in this neighborhood, one of whom is my guest on the podcast, Aamer Rahman. I'll get to that in a second. But this project that we just dropped is produced entirely by me. I was able to find the artwork from a really amazing artist named Tony DeMuro. I believe he's Italian. I started following him some years ago on Instagram. Then he posted some stuff about Palestine, and I was like, oh man, my dude, okay. So then I started thinking like, man, maybe something that he has would work for this project. So I went and I found some things that really featured cats and talked to him about the fact that Üsküdar, I call it the edge of Asia. Like they're literally, you can sit on the edge like a wall that goes off into the Bosphorus, and you're sitting on the edge of Asia looking at Europe. And there's something very symbolic, in the artist's mind that's like, man, this means a lot. And the cats and the moonlight and everything like that. So these pieces that I use for the cover are the work of Tony DeMuro, who I still have never met in person, but he was very, very cool to work with. I also did the layout and the design of the physical packaging. Shout out to my brother Unjust, who put it in the template for me so that we could get it manufactured. I also, produced this whole record. I recorded it myself. I mixed it myself. And shout out to my man Kenny Siegel, who took the mixes over the finish line for me. But this is something that I produced almost entirely myself, created this project almost entirely myself. Used a lot of Turkish records. And it's just something that means a lot to me. So that drop today is streaming everywhere. Go to all the streaming sites if you like and run it up. You can also buy it on Bandcamp, which is even doper. And we pressed up a very limited number of vinyl, right around 500 copies. In two different colorways. So there's one called Cobblestone. That's like this beautiful brown. That one is, by the time you hear this, may be completely sold out. And then there's a cream color one that we're calling Moonlight. Most of them have sold. They'll probably will be sold out pretty quickly, but if you go and get them, you can still grab those. We priced them very, very affordably. We didn't price them on some like exclusive special edition. Like we wanted for those to be accessible to the people that are rocking with us in this particular moment. The first 100 or so of each color variant come with an obi strip as well. I'm not in America, so I was not able to sign these, unfortunately. I wanted to, and it just didn't work out. And so you can go to brotherali.com and get all of that stuff now. The guest on the podcast today is Aamer Rahman. Aamer is a neighbor of ours in Üsküdar. He's somebody that I've admired for a long time. He's an amazing stand-up comedian, one of my favorite, one of the most talented in the world. Like, he's just an incredibly sharp comedic mind. And what he and I share, and what you're going to hear in this conversation, is that we're in a very small and shrinking group of people that we come into these art forms and we love the art forms in and of themselves, but we also particularly love them for the vehicle that they can be to spread a message. At one time, hip-hop music was seen as one of the primary focuses of the art of emceeing and creation of hip-hop music. One of the purposes, not the only one, but one of the purposes was to be the extension of the truth tellers, of people like the Last Poets and the Watts Poets and Gil Scott-Heron and other, great poets that were truth tellers that grew out of the Black arts movement. Well, there also is a connection to comedy. People like Richard Pryor, the great legendary Paul Mooney. Dick Gregory is one of the great comedians in this tradition that actually helped the Black Power movement in profound ways. He was deeply entrenched. And not only in the Black freedom tradition, but just in the tradition of truth tellers, people like Lenny Bruce and George Carlin. So these are art forms that one of the purposes that they serve is to be able to tell truth and to speak truth to power. And so for artists like myself and Aamer, this was a big part of what drew us to these fields. And over time, the idea of having an industry around this type of truth-telling within these mediums, these art forms, has dwindled. It has shrunken. It's basically on life support. It's very, very hard to still find artists that are thriving with this type of intention. Aamer is a comedian that went viral about 10 or so years ago with a piece that he had called Reverse Racism that Dave Chappelle called the Rosetta Stone. If you want to hear more about his story in general, you can hear when Aamer was on our podcast a little over a year ago. And then he largely went quiet for a while until last year when he stepped out and did a string of shows in London talking about what was happening in Gaza. This is only 6 months or so after October 7th. And so those clips went viral, and they were really, really profound and really beautiful, and he's able to tell the truth in a way that's hilarious and serious and very piercing and very wise and intelligent. And then as fans, we kind of lost him again. He kind of went back into the hole for another year or so. Until recently, he was invited back to London to do a series of events with Norman Finkelstein, who is the Jewish-American philosopher, revolutionary writer, who has written a lot about Gaza and the Holocaust. And he does so as a child of Holocaust survivors. His parents were in the camps. A lot of his family died in the camps. And so he does so with this really amazing perspective. So Aamer was invited to the UK to do a series of events, basically facilitating, hosting, interviewing Norman Finkelstein, and he also jumped back into a comedy club and did some comedy. So what you're going to hear is me and Aamer debriefing after all of that. We hadn't had a chance to talk since all of that happened. And we just sat down and chopped it up and kind of commiserated about the challenge of being Muslim artists that are independent, underground, that are really losing any semblance of a community and industry about the very particular view that he and I have. I don't know if this is going to be interesting to everybody. Again, it's not like there's a big network of underground, independent, spiritual comedians and rappers with a political, radical kind of interest. But I think that anybody that shares any part of this identity with us can relate, and also people who have this feeling of like, I know what I'm called to internally, but I don't see a place for it in the world. I want to remind you that you can go to brotherali.com and join our mailing list so that you know about when these things happen. And then also you can join the caravan there. That starts at $5 a month. You get all sorts of exclusive content. The new album that just dropped today, Brother Minister 2, Uskudar Sessions, the caravan subscribers have been listening to that album for free for a minute now, whereas it just got released to the broader public today. So head to brotherali.com, join that mailing list, sign up for the caravan, and enjoy this episode of the Travelers Podcast with the great Aamer Rahman. Man, I was just talking to Azhar Usman about the fact that the Muslim community does not support art in any meaningful way.
Yeah.
There's a whole market where you can do these Islamic events. So I was like, well, maybe I should do them. Azhar just got booked on a 48-city tour.
Yeah.
And you hear the number that those people make, and it's like, man, I could live off that.
I did one of those ones.
Yeah.
It was the worst experience of my life.
So I did one, because these people came at me and were like, hey.
One tour or one event?
One tour.
Okay. How many cities?
It was like 10.
Okay. Still, that's a lot.
It's enough to know what it is. You know what I mean? This was like the guy that was working at this, charity group.
Yeah.
Osama and Dr. Omar were his guys. Now, the two of them were like, you should get Brother Ali. And they both told him, this is how you get Brother Ali. You got to honor hip hop. You got to do something, the money has to go to an inner city thing. And then if you do something in the Gambia. So it was like, okay, we're going to do inner city tech training and then we're going to build orphanages in the Gambia.
How can you refuse?
Well, I'm saying they came at me with this whole thing, and it was, Osama and Dr. Omar were, all this stuff. So I'm like, okay. I mean, I guess I got to put my money where my mouth is. And basically, this guy was telling me all my critiques about the Muslim community.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, cool. So I did it. I mean, just basic things. There was some of them. There was no sound system at all. We couldn't get a dressing room. We couldn't get water. We couldn't get a private bathroom. I was just like, basically, like you're asking us to. It's like you want to have a movie theater, and there's no movie screen, or like you want to have a restaurant and there's no oven. Like,
Yeah.
so yeah. But I was just thinking, like, man, it's so amazing. Like, Iman Rami Neshashibi has built this whole thing, centering stuff that Muslims as a community don't. So like art culture, Black inner city, people getting out of prison, this whole thing. And there are some Muslims that fund it because he is specifically talented in telling people about things in a way that makes them care about things they wouldn't have cared about because they believe they're buying into him in a way. You know what I mean? But then also so many of his partners are not Muslim because in order to do that work, it's got to be like that.
Well, because to have the experience to run those things properly, you need to go outside the community.
And just to get it funded.
Yeah.
Partners in terms of logistics and visioning and planning and stuff like that, but then also the funding. And so there's been times where like I've given Juma there and Rami will meet with me beforehand and be like, hey, so-and-so's in the room, so-and-so's in the room.
Yeah.
And I know it's just like, just be aware that like there's funders in the room. Not everybody here is Muslim.
Yeah.
And I just know it's like, not that I can't say what I want to say, but like it's going to affect what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I don't want to mess up his thing.
Yeah.
And I just think about like the people from our community that we know that have been able to do something more mainstream. I look at the things that they make for the most part and I'm like, oh, this wasn't necessarily made only with us in mind. This has to also be presentable to the Hollywood company that's producing this thing.
Yes.
I don't like if you were just banging out for us, like it wouldn't look like that.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing like if you were a fan of hip hop before it went mainstream, like you remember there's like all this very like radical Black power militant voices. And then when they decided like, no, this is going to be mainstream, it's like, no, the corporate world got to get behind it. And a whole bunch of like middle white America, it's got to fit how they want to see young Black men. Even Arrested Development. Like, yeah, you're nice and you're not threatening and stuff like that, but this is just too Black, too strong.
Yeah.
Whole album full of hits. And they didn't get a real second record deal.
No, I mean, you're just like, you'll live the rest of your life doing festivals and touring and,
But like you don't get to be a player anymore. And
No.
and don't tell me it's not because we can't make hit records because that whole album is full of hits.
Yeah.
They made that album for almost no money. And then Diggable Planets had Cool Like That.
Yeah.
Cool Like, people are like, oh yeah, cool. You know what I'm saying? They won a Grammy and everything, and then they made the Blowout Comb.
Yeah.
And like, all right, y'all are done. You know what I'm saying?
The community will support you. Well, it depends because I feel like I am supported by the Muslim community, right? Like in terms of my audience.
Okay.
But the institutions will support you if they can fit you into whatever their model is. If they can add you to their lineup for a fundraising tour and stuff like that. So, one of these things, I'm starting to do these events again that are run by Muslim organizations. And they're very well attended. And somewhere someone will be like, oh, I'll be hosting the event. They'll be like, oh, he does comedy. It's like, oh, you should join our winter appeal tour or whatever. And I'm just like, no. Mine was, the one I did was 26 dates. I think I did 24 or 26. And when they were booking me, I was like, hey, like, I've done comedy. I know what your audiences are like. Please look at my material. I don't just come here and collect the check. Please look at my material.
Right.
Make sure it's appropriate for your audiences.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're going to do it different. Like, it's not going to be the blah, 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 blah. And yes, from a technical aspect, because they hired like an actual AV company that toured with us.
Crazy. That part is amazing.
It was, and this is for comedy, right? We're not musicians. Like,
right.
So they had that covered. Green room was always there. Hotels, hospitality, like all that was covered. But they were attracting, Muslim charity crowds.
Yeah, people that have money.
People have money, or like sometimes there was kids running around.
Yeah.
Once there was no stage. Once like this kid, literally like a 16-year-old who was my height, walked past me like in front of my face in the middle of the show because we're both just in the room on the floor.
Right.
I mean, the schedule alone is rough. A different city every single day.
Yeah.
Hotel, get everything in the van, get to the next hotel. Like that's enough. But then just bombing night after night after, man, it was brutal.
Well, I mean, I feel like your audience is a section of the Muslim audience.
Yeah.
It's not the mainstream Muslim audience that's at an Islamic event.
No, not at all.
Like when, you know what I mean? Like coming to your shows is like That's who we really are. And I think that's where so much of us are really at. Like if we went on tour together, I think that could be a thing.
That'd be crazy.
You know what I mean? Have we ever talked about doing that?
We have, but like neither of us have even performed here. Or you've just performed.
Yeah, just
for the
kinda
first
saved it
time
for
here.
next time. These are the people who don't really get represented at Muslim events. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
Because I mean, it's like they have comedians because people have like it's generally accepted that that's halal if they don't curse. But then you have like sometimes you have real comedians that like can work in a nightclub or whatever. But man, you have to do a very, very specific thing. Like it's not always the art of comedy for the sake of it.
Yeah.
Any of us that actually want to get good at what we do, we are basically on our own. We got to get thrown to the wolves. So like my first demo tape, Rites of Passage, I was a 19-year-old imam, and that's the album I made. It's like, I got married as a teenager. We're so in love. You know what I mean? I'm flipping rhymes about the story of Jonah and the whale. And like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, I'm trying to be an imam rapping. Man, I learned very quickly, like not only can you not make a living doing that, but you can't even, there's not even a way to develop artistically. Like to develop artistically, you have to be with other people that are deeply dedicated to being artists. You know what I'm saying? You can't do that in a vacuum. And like, because our community is just not on that, even in the world I was in where no one thinks it's haram, it's not something that we're dedicating ourselves to. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, even if I want to develop as an artist, like suddenly I'm around all these people. And when I look at like the fact that Preacher Moss never started cussing. And he was in black comedy clubs during Def Comedy Jam. That's where he built his chops. That's why he's a real comedian, not because of doing these Muslim events. But he was Preacher Moss the way we know him now in the comedy club. During Def Comedy. You know what I'm saying? Like he was completely against the grain and was like, what, I'm funny. Dick Gregory says I'm nice. You know what I'm saying?
I'm going to be me.
But I look at the rest of us, it's like, yeah, man, Mo had to go in the comedy club and go on tour with Dave. Azhar had to do the same thing. Rami and Hassan, in order for them to do their thing, there's got to like a Hollywood kind of involvement. There's like a TV movie world involvement or whatever. Just even the opportunity to build as artists within our community. And so we end up getting art. It's not for us, by us.
Well, I mean, it can be, but it's never going to be big. Right?
I don't even think it can be. Like as real art. Because I'm saying like, man, I love our brothers and sisters that are doing that thing. You know what I mean? Some of them are genuinely funny. Like Nadira P is funny for real.
Amazing.
Like she's for real funny. But it's like, man, is she going to really have the opportunity to develop into a hardcore stomp down comedian in that world? Like, I don't think it's possible to do because like you have to be such an edited version of yourself. You can't explore. Like there's no exploration.
But you don't think, I mean, but isn't that what you've done independently?
But that's what I'm saying. I had to go battle at Scribble Jam to do that. And in the process, I became somebody that like when I listen to my old music, it's like, man, when I met Evidence, he's like, you curse more than a gangster rapper. He's like, you're the only conscious rapper I know curse more than a gangster rapper. He told me exactly the first day I met him, everybody knows that you don't mess with women and you don't smoke and you don't drink. And he's like, and you curse a lot. And that's the way you're showing us that you're still down. You know what I'm saying? He's like, and someday you're just going to stop. He told me the first day I met him.
Wow.
We were at the Highline Ballroom. It was me, Evidence, and Little Brother in 2008 or something. It was one of the dopest shows. That was a show. I wanted us to do that as a tour.
Amazing.
Yeah, I had to go battle at Scribble Jam. I can't be at Scribble Jam like talking all this head rap stuff. Like I just you can't do it. Anytime somebody says you can't do something, the person that actually did it is like, I can't say that to Preach. I cannot say to Preach, like, man, I couldn't go in that world and not change my stuff because Preach didn't change. And that's why I think with like our brother Hassan, when he's like, well, you got to change the story a little bit. Sometimes it can't just be your story. You know, tweak it a little bit so that the audience will respond.
Sprinkle something on it.
Yeah, sprinkle some anthrax on it to make the, you know what I'm saying? And we're talking about somebody that's our brother, but like, you can say that to people that also have made that compromise, but you can't say it to me because I've only told my stories. Honestly, ever since my wife told me that Prince Charming, my song where like the guy becomes a stalker, she's like, that's not funny to people that have been through it. And I'm like, damn, okay. I tried to I made up a story to try to be funny. Ever since that, that's why our next album was Undisputed Truth. It's like, all right, from now on.
I mean, even just what you said, like one piece is the support and the environment.
Yeah.
And the other part is just like being able to connect with other artists.
Yeah.
It's not easy.
Iman has done so much to like Rami Nashashibi and Sadia and like the whole crew at Iman.
That was what
Ali
was so
Abdallah.
suffocating about Australia.
Yeah.
Like all my artist friends were in the US or UK.
Yeah.
There was Nazim, like my former partner, and that was it.
Yeah.
Like there's no one else to really build anything with, and it's just like how can you do it?
I just hear about like these glory days that Abdul Hakim Murad and them talk about where like there used to be Sufi guilds
Yeah.
based on art.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, now I'm trying to be, my intention is like, okay, I want my music to be an act of worship. Like that's when I almost quit and Dr. Omar and Sheikh Muhammad were like, no, keep doing it. Just make it an act of worship. I'm like, okay, how, Sway?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like who?
Yeah.
That's part of how me and Yasin became so close.
Yeah.
But it's like, who else is doing that from our perspective? So am I supposed to go on tour with Jay Electronica and them? Because then it's like, if I'm in this space, then it's like, are you going to say something to them about the differences in our theology and blah, blah, blah? And you're just going to act like it's all the same? Because, the way that the Christian world supports their artists, like I think people don't realize.
Do you feel like they also don't have the hangups, the cultural hangups about music and like live entertainment and stuff? Like it's been normal for a lot longer.
Yeah,
in the West.
Well, they historically have
for them. Yeah.
Like Black Christianity for a long time was like you're either playing, because I'm saying that's what Aretha Franklin went through. That's what. So yeah, you had a similar kind of thing where like you either were playing straight up gospel music, you're either playing His Eyes on the Sparrow, or you're playing Devil Got My Woman, like or you're blues.
Yeah.
And like blues was seen as like you're playing for the devil.
Yeah.
You're either playing for God or the devil. There's no in between. So like they historically had that. And I think it took a long time to get over it. And I think also maybe that's why like the Christian narrative wasn't really part of hip hop early on. It's becoming that now.
Yeah.
Like now it's starting to kind of, I don't know for sure, but like it seems like Toby and Wigway and them had some support as like as a Christian.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. Okay, so I want to hear about you just went to the UK for a week. Did events with Norman Finkelstein. So how did you get invited to do that? Like who?
So our mutual friend Osman puts these tours together. And so the last one that I did was with Dr. Naledi Pandor, who's the former foreign minister of South Africa.
Yeah.
So she headed the case against Israel at the ICJ.
Yeah.
She's like the generation after Mandela.
Yeah.
That was incredible. Like just watching her speak and just watching like people's reaction to both her and Finkelstein was, I mean, I don't know how to describe it. Like for both of them, it was like a security situation every night to get them out of the venue because they were just getting mobbed.
Yeah.
Dr. Pandor was just like, still doesn't really understand it. I'm like, people are so betrayed by their leaders, by people in power. Like when they see someone with the status of a foreign minister who has taken Israel to the highest court, whether it's successful or not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like what it means historically and symbolically.
It's like you're a Malcolm X to us. Like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're the closest thing we have to
and it's not just that. Like it's a lifetime of her work and activism. Same with Finkelstein. Like these are people who have really dedicated their lives to causes, and they have like a body of work to show for it. And it's just incredible to spend time with people like that. You know what I mean? Like the events are great. They're super inspiring to people, and like I'm always learning. I'm in conversation with these people for, just the hours on stage alone. But then like traveling with them and getting to just see them like, their day to day and just like eating breakfast at the hotel and like that's amazing. You know what I mean? Like I think Dr. Pandor wanted ice cream. And Osman, of course, knew like some ice cream truck somewhere that was next to a park.
Oh man! So Osman is like traveling with you?
Yeah. Osman is
crazy.
Like Osman is driving city to city. Like
that's so dope. That's so dope.
So
man, he can locate ice cream anywhere.
And man, the food is just like incredible.
Like, he got an instinct for that job. But man, he's just a stomp down servant. Like man, that brother just lives to serve people.
Mashallah.
Man.
Like his hospitality is like in his blood.
Yeah, man.
So she's just eating ice cream in the park, and she's just talking about how she just hasn't had a moment like that since her granddaughter's birthday. I mean, she's retired, she's not like serving in government anymore, but she still has like her schedule is just as packed. She's still traveling around the world. In fact, the US just revoked her visa the U.S. just notified her that her visa's been revoked. This is after they kicked out the ambassador, Ibrahim Rasool. They announced it on Twitter. Marco Rubio announced it on Twitter.
Oh my God.
Because I also met him recently, Ibrahim Rasool. Amazing. Like younger, but a contemporary of Mandela. He goes, yeah, so they announced it on Twitter. And then the State Department tried to summon him, like to come in person. And he's like, well, I'm not doing that. Like, well, why? Like to humiliate me.
Yeah.
So yeah, he sent someone else. And, they gave them like the official notice or whatever. And they had to, he had to leave.
Yeah. So okay. So the format is you do these events with folks and you're like the host, moderator.
Yeah, I host, they speak. There's usually an NGO that does like some fundraising. And then we do like a Q&A in conversation. Sometimes I'm just asking the questions. Sometimes we take questions from the audience. It is hard, like 4 nights in a row when people have a very specific sort of skill set to keep it fresh.
Yeah.
That's why the time with them outside of the events is really important. Because you just, you pick up on things about them. Like Dr. Pandora was telling us about her whole life growing up basically in exile because of her dad and grandfather's activism and, being taught at a young age when they lived in Botswana, like not to speak to agents, not to speak to people black or white who, might have been like trying to get them killed, basically.
Yeah.
Because, South Africa was sending collaborators and agents out into all the neighboring countries where people were living in exile to keep tabs on them and to eventually jail or assassinate them.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you just keep learning like bits and pieces about their lives. And yeah, I mean, I'm lucky. I mean, you're in the same, but you've met a lot of very famous people.
And traveled with them.
And
So you're on stage with them and off stage with them.
And sometimes they're not what you think.
Yeah.
But when they are, it's incredible.
Man. Yeah, you start realizing like, man, some of these people are that's just how they are. Somebody finally just put them on it.
And I have a skill of, I think just from having been around a lot of people like that, of not being starstruck. Mm-hmm. Like, of course, I'm respectful and I am inside like I'm in awe, but I can still act like a normal person around them. And I think people like that who are surrounded by people who are starstruck all the time and act weird around them appreciate when someone can just be normal with them. Yes,
because the people that it's a balance of that you get why they're dope and you treat them like a person.
Yeah.
Like it's got to be both because there's plenty of people that aren't starstruck because they don't get it.
Yeah.
They don't understand why this person
is important. Right.
So that person is going to like really be offensive almost sometimes. Yeah. But then the people that do get it, they're so caught up in the fact that
then they're like overly deferential and start treating them like royalty. And, these people are humble. Like they don't, that also makes them uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, I just feel like these are just like huge blessings for me. Like I just get to hang out with like really incredible people and learn about them, learn from them. So Dr. Pandora, she has a background in education.
Okay.
As an educator. So for her, Black liberation was about education. And she saw the persecution that her grandfather and her father had been through as anti-apartheid activists, and she wasn't trying to be a politician. So she literally was like a high school teacher, a professor. She's got an insane number of degrees and is recognized as like a leading figure in education. Mm-hmm. So early on, I was, this kind of thing of like about 4 nights in a row, like these hour-long conversations, like. So I was like, hey, Dr. Pandora, like if there's anything you want to talk about, just let me know and I'll, I'll bring it up. And she looked at me like she just looked at me like a high school teacher and she goes, no, you can write your own questions. I was like, oh.
Wow. Like he's loved from so many different sectors. For people that have cared about the Palestinians for a long time, like when there's a Jewish person that speaks as authoritatively as him, where it's like you literally cannot front on this man whatsoever. Yeah. There's no way to say that he's a plant or he's self-hating Jewish person or like whatever. It's like, man, his parents survived the camp. So like, man, you just can't do that. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But then he's so bold and he's so clear, and the way that he expresses things is like, so it's like, man, I know what he means to us. But then also, one of the things that's so wild is like, I got a bunch of like anti-Zionist Jewish homies that I've worked with that come from hip hop. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Some of them are vocal and some of them aren't. Mm-hmm. Pretty much all the Jewish people that I know that come through music, especially through hip hop and like jazz and all this kind of stuff. Like they all have this worldview that's colonialism, oppression, all these kind of things. And like they have to figure out what that means for them and everything. But man, I know the way that so many of the Jewish homies feel about him.
Oh, for sure.
Is just like, man,
sure.
the very deep, they're like, man, you know what I'm saying? Like I didn't know who the writer Sim Kern was before before October 7th. And then suddenly Sim Kern is like in my life. You know what I mean?
Incredible. Yeah, just breaking things down daily.
Oh yeah. Just like, man, Sim was like, Sim, I got time today. Sim had time every day. And then also seeing so many Muslims have to navigate like Sim being like, hey, you don't call me she. And Muslims being like, okay, I'm gonna try to figure this out. Because I appreciate you so much. You know what I mean?
And your work and your conviction.
Yes. Like and so for anybody that's an organizer, you know that there's a bunch of they, thems and LGBTQ and pluses and QIAs and like you know there's a bunch of those people that are super down.
Yes.
So anybody that's ever worked on this stuff together, it's like we already know the amount of allyship that's there and how seriously people take it. For so many people to feel represented, to feel like there was a Jewish voice like him very specifically. That also I think is from like our parents' generation.
And you know, someone who hasn't gained from it. You know what I mean? Like he's paid like a huge
like what's his story?
Price.
So I'm like that's when I came across his work. I didn't know him before that. Like I knew Chris Hedges before this. I knew, you know what I mean? I knew Saul Williams before this. I did not know Norman Finkelstein before this situation. So what's
before the
I saw that clip before October 7th.
Right.
But I'm saying prior to, you know, this round of talking about Gaza and Palestine, this is when he really became a figure to me.
Okay.
But so like what is he known for?
So he's written now like 14 or 15 books.
Okay.
One of his major books was The Holocaust Industry, which is him breaking down how the memory of the Holocaust is weaponized to be used as a shield against criticisms of Israel. But his expertise is Israel, Palestine, and Gaza specifically.
Okay.
His latest, because I read his bio out so many times, I can tell you his latest book is Gaza's Gravediggers, and is basically like looking into basically the people at the highest levels who facilitated the genocide. But his book just before that was on cancel culture, and probably full of a lot of things that you and I would not agree on.
Okay.
And like I had those conversations with him.
Like we wouldn't agree with each other or with him?
We wouldn't agree with him.
Oh, okay.
Because he's also from a certain generation.
Is he like old school radical leftist?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So identity politics and all this stuff is like completely, and you know, safe spaces and all that stuff is like nonsensical to him. Like he's just like, you know, it's the value of your argument, and you should be able to debate, you know, anyone with your idea, which, you know, I get. But so he put out the book, and Tariq Ali wrote Clash of Fundamentalisms.
Yeah.
You know, the cover is like George Bush with like a Taliban beard. It came out right after post September 11th. So Tariq Ali wrote like this, who was a friend of Finkelstein's, by the way, a scathing review of it, you know, called it like a tantrum and whatever. Finkelstein just published it as the foreword to the book.
Dope.
And he's like, even Tariq Ali thought it was funny.
That's dope, man. That's how them old school radicals are, man. Old school radicals are they're different.
Take a lot
it's just
more,
like the old school imams and like Muslim
they can
leaders.
Take a lot more back and forth criticism and dialogue. Whereas with us, it's like
we get super
we can never
touchy.
speak to each other again.
It's like
of course, I'm like that. I'm not. But it's Tariq Ali trivia that just came to mind. Malcolm X's Oxford Union speech.
Okay. You're living at a time of revolution.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, I'll work with anyone.
Don't care what color you are.
Don't care what color you are. You will see Tariq Ali clapping, because I think at the time he was either the president of the Oxford Union or was part of the organizing.
He was at that.
Yeah. So there's a clear shot of him like clapping during Malcolm's speech.
Crazy. That's amazing. Public intellectuals they're a lot like artists.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I felt like. The energy around them was like people seeing their favorite artists, like people who are moved.
Yeah.
people who've grown up with a certain artist or been really, moved by their work, like that was the reaction that I saw.
Not only like, comedians and rappers just get along really well because like timing and specific words and things like that.
And references and, they have to work with the same.
They're so alike,
stuff.
but very different at
Yes.
the same time. Also, I mean, artists and
are jealous of each other all the time, I
hell
think.
yeah. Yeah, man. Yeah. It's like
I think any comedian would trade in comedy for rap. Like, no question. But the other thing is the other thing that we're permanently jealous of with musicians is that musicians can do
of course.
their best of
course.
like all the time.
Yes. That's totally unfair. Like
It's
that
so
that
unfair,
that part
man.
is deeply unfair. Like, yeah, the fact that you write the greatest like masterpiece of your career and then you can't do it again. The fact that you can never do reverse racism again.
Although reverse racism is kind of dated now.
But a lot of things are a lot, you know what I mean? A lot of old
You know who shares reverse racism now? Like it'll come up somewhere on Facebook or someone will tag me and it'll be like literally like a 65-year-old person will be like, this young man has some interesting points to make.
Right.
Like,
yeah. A lot of classic things don't necessarily age well.
Yeah.
But it's still the nostalgia of
Yeah.
that moment that like carries it beyond.
So one thing, back to that thing about working with other artists.
Yeah.
I think we talked about this once before, but like in entertainment, particularly, I would say comedy and acting, the industry is so individualized and it pits everyone against each other so much.
Yeah.
Like it feels like it's just like a anti-collaborative.
Yeah, comedy and acting are more that way than other things.
Yeah, I think hip hop like naturally has more collaboration built into it. From production to artist featuring, like I just feel like it's more communal. Not that I'm sure there isn't like divisions and of course like it still tries to separate artists.
Yeah.
But I feel like comedy in particular is like that. And again, I just feel like it just stops collective stuff from happening because
Yeah.
just everyone consciously or subconsciously has to beat into them that they have to win their race.
Right.
You know what I mean? Good luck to you. Wish you the best. Yeah, I think, look, I'll just say it. I'm kind of beating around. I feel weird when I just see people who have clout and have resources and abilities that could help out someone that I know is close to them.
Yeah.
It just it doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
And maybe there's some part of it that I don't know, but I just feel like there's so few of us.
Yeah.
Why are people not?
It's really weird for me to see because I was obviously raised in hip hop and there's a big badge of honor for like an elder hip hop artist to be able to introduce somebody dope and young. And that's the way that like so many people that I looked up to, they really got a kick out of like, man, Chuck D. I mean, dude, Lord Jamar was like, man, they don't know what you're about to do to him. He would be there, before I go on stage, and I'm feeling like, man, this is a brand Nubian audience. Those were some tough nights sometimes.
Yeah.
And he'd be like, man, wait till they see your biscuit head walk on the stage and how you about to tear this joint down. Like, man, they ain't ready for you. You know what I mean? And he would say something sometimes on stage.
Yeah.
Y'all see this Brother Ali cat? And people would be like, man, he's like, I'm telling you, right? He's like, I know, right? Like, man. But I've always felt strange in those like brown Muslim, like there's all kind of stuff going on that I know that I don't understand. Because I came into Islam through enslaved people. I came in through like black inner city Islam. That's what I understand. I know that.
This is not on anyone in particular, but like I just felt like after October 7th, like we were not able to do anything collectively.
No.
And I was just like, well, I'm not in any WhatsApp groups anymore because I was like, what's the point? Like I'll just deal with people that, directly.
Right.
But like there is like no useful collective of Muslim artists or anything like that. And I'm just like, for a while, I was just like, I was shocked. I was like, what has the last 20 years been about?
Yeah.
If not to like respond to something like this.
Yeah.
That's fine. I mean, I just know. Like, I'm very naive. Like, I feel like I think I'm like a very cynical, realist sort of person. But I realize I have like all these sentimental ideas about, and I think that also comes from like organizing and like,
Yeah.
what do we want the world to look like and blah, blah, blah. And like every now and then I get like a real slap in the face where I'm just
Man,
like,
me and you
I'm just
both,
like, man,
yeah.
it's not like that.
Me and
It's
you
not like
share
that
that.
at all.
Yeah, we share
You know?
that. Yeah,
And
we have that in common.
Yeah.
Whereas like when we're looking at the other side,
Yeah, yeah.
like we don't trust them for a second.
Yeah.
But then people that we feel like are in our tribe, it's like, no, we all believe in the same things
Yeah.
together, right? And then you just be standing there by yourself, like,
Yeah.
no.
Hey,
Like,
where'd
no, like,
everyone go?
No, people didn't really believe in that. Or if it was something to rally around.
Yeah.
But it's like, man, the second people get in, I thought we were supposed to be the alternative to that. Okay, so we have some representation. Yes, there's a brown face up there. That person is really from our community. They really are what they, that's true. But like, we don't have a power base necessarily. But also, that's never been the mindset of the artist going in. So you think about Burn Hollywood Burn, Chuck D,
Ice Cube,
Big Daddy Kane, and Ice
yeah.
Cube. It's like, that's them. And like, man, the Chuck D, Ice Cube thing, from the very beginning, NWA is a negative public enemy. Like that's what NWA effectively is being used for. Not saying that that's what they wanted to be, but I think that the music industry was like, cool, we can get rid of this public enemy thing. But Ice Cube is interested in what Public Enemy is talking about. So as soon as he leaves NWA, he goes straight to Public Enemy. It's a power building thing. Like they're both connected to organizing. Like they're both connected to the Nation of Islam, the Black Panthers, Black Power, civil rights. Like they're both deeply connected to all of that stuff. Whereas like one of the things that I see with like colonized brown Muslims.
There's a Black radical tradition.
Right.
Right? But
Yeah.
like middle class immigrant Muslim communities
Yeah.
and the artists they produce.
Yeah.
What are they drawing from?
Yeah.
If they're in the States, they should be drawing from the Black radical tradition.
Well, I mean, they're doing it in terms of like style, and that's what
Yeah.
Dr. Suad Abdul Kabir talks
Yeah.
about. Is like if you want to be cool,
Yeah.
you go to Black stuff when you want to
adopt
wear the right Jordans.
the costume.
Yeah, and even the like delivery style of
Yeah.
a lot of like
Yeah.
brown comedians. It's like you're doing Black comedy
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
Like you're just. I don't think Imam Khalid Latif gets enough
Credit.
and Imam Omar Suleiman.
In terms of bridging the cultural gap.
Yes. And in terms of
yes.
like, they understand that like, okay, our survival is going to mean being deeply aligned with the Black tradition in general.
Yeah, and actual Muslim history in
Yes,
America.
yes. And you look at like who are some of the most like widely accepted actual leaders, not just like people that talk, people that are actually shaping the way that so many of younger Muslims like think. Like those guys are leaders, and I think that that's a huge part of
Inshallah,
it.
yeah.
It can't be that didn't exist in India, Pakistan, Bangladesh.
Yeah, of course. But
There had to be that there, right?
But that's severed, Like once immigration happens,
Okay.
for the parents, like it's just a whole new game of survival.
Okay.
And they're allergic to anything that might get their kids in trouble.
Right,
So the
right.
community leaders, like for them, like
Yeah.
you want to connect with like the history of Malcolm X and the Panthers and no.
And I mean, and as like religious Muslims, like we have, like there's some of the Ataturk stuff that we're just like, oh, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I will say we know who we're talking.
Yeah.
We're gonna know who we mean. But like
Yeah.
we got a homie that like teaches his kids like, no, Ataturk is not a hero,
Yeah.
and da 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 da. And we're like, yo, like I don't know about you, but I be telling my girls like, do not repeat that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
We are not here to criticize what's going
Yeah.
on in this country. Like that's not what we're here for.
And Malcolm, case in point, like community leaders won't say a bad word about Malcolm. I mean, they'll happily adopt him, but like none of the actual politics
No,
of history.
hell no.
You know what I mean? They will adopt basically the white narrative of Malcolm, which is that he became like peace and kumbaya after Hajj.
He was wrong, and then
Yeah. He was a black supremacist, and then went to Hajj, and Islam basically opened his eyes to nothing about him being like a black nationalist after Hajj or anything like that.
yeah, and same with Muhammad Ali.
Yeah. The sanitized, whitewashed versions, basically.
We see people do it with Muhammad Ali, where it's like, man, he's such a hero because he actually sacrificed it all during Vietnam. And I mean, even before that, like even in just saying like, no, I'm not Cassius Clay.
Yes.
I'm Muhammad Ali. Yes, Elijah Muhammad. In the Elijah Muhammad moment, he's
Yes.
like, Elijah Muhammad is my teacher. I just see like a lot of people that I love do the Riyadh Comedy Festival. Like one of the things that the Black Power struggle did is educate artists. Part of why Richard Pryor is the Richard Pryor that we love is because he was chilling with Huey. You know what I mean?
Well, he shouts Huey out in the special. Sunset Strip.
Yeah.
He's in the audience.
Yeah.
But you were accountable to a movement.
Yes.
The movement was going to hold you accountable for what you did and said publicly, politically.
Yeah.
I mean, who's beholden to what now?
Yeah.
People only fear their online fan base. Like that's the only people who can cancel you, the only people who can, whoever you have curated online.
Yeah, your bubble.
There's so many different facets to the Riyadh thing. I mean, the main one was, this is without even addressing like really the specific politics of Saudi or whatever, was of course like all the free speech warriors talking about comedy's the last bastion. Everyone gets these jokes. We can say whatever we want.
Yeah.
The fact that you sign a contract saying there's things you can't say, like that was ridiculous to begin with. Okay, fine, do it.
Yeah.
But the kinds of backflips and gymnastics and crazy things people said afterwards, just go and do it. Just go and do it. Don't come back and say things like, oh, this is the first step towards opening up this society and this is the first time. Bro, Saudis are educated and rich and travel the world and have access. You weren't performing to like people who didn't have televisions. Do you know what I mean? Like, like you weren't doing an act of charity. Louis C.K. is like, oh, I really want to see what's going on with the local scene. You're Louis C.K.
Yeah.
Like, who's stopping you?
Right.
There was people who like accepted and then pulled out and they're like, oh, I had a change of heart. No. People came at you online and you realized like this is not good for your brand.
You know what's crazy is, so I'm having trouble right now with, I don't have a single booking on it. You know this because we talk every day, but like I don't know when I'm going to get paid again. I just got off a year of tour, so like I've got a little coasting time, but like I'm not sure when there's going to be another paycheck coming. I have no clue.
Tiny Desk? Have you ever contacted them? Or?
Oh man, that's become like that's like trying to get on David Letterman at this point. Like that's a major like news outlet, and there's people there that know us. Like it's just like, in my song Sensitive, I talk about going to the XXL office, and I'm like, these people don't even know who I am, and they're all like trembling, taking pictures with me. Not all, but there's like people there that are bugging, that are clearly important at the thing. I'm like, why don't you talk about me? And they're like, oh, we didn't think you wanted us to. You know what I'm saying? Or like, I don't know. We just like, they don't know why we're not included. When you talk about the best songwriters in hip hop and me and none of my friends show up on that list. No, I mean, Tiny Desk is the same way. So every now and then you'll see somebody show up on there that's not a phenomenon or not big or not a legend or something like that. They know their whole, it's like trying to get on Hot Ones. Like Sean Evans is my friend. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He can't get me on Hot Ones. Even if they know you and respect you and know, it's like, there's got to be some other kind of hook for that to happen.
Me quitting comedy, like for the 100th time or whenever I finally did it again, I was in Australia. I got an email from the Jimmy Kimmel Show.
Okay. Being
like, hey, we'd like to consider having you on. Can you send us a tape? And I was like, look, I don't live in the States. It's a very expensive visa for me to go there. And like to do a spot on Kimmel or any late night show, they have to follow you around. They have to watch you do the spot over and over and over again.
I didn't know that.
Or at least this was the case like back then.
Okay.
I mean, they can't risk you going up there and bombing.
Every word. Like they curate the words sometimes. Yeah.
So I guess their producers have to watch you do, and it's not difficult in New York. Like you could do 5 spots in one night.
Right.
But that to me was just like, not that I'm dying to do Kimmel, but it's just like in Australia, I was like invisible.
Yeah.
Not a single call or email.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, like I'm good enough to get on the radar out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that was one of those things where I was just like, man, this is a total dead end because I didn't see a way out of Australia then. Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
People were always like, oh, why didn't you move? Do you know what it takes to like move countries?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, doing it to try to like, I mean, when I came here, it was cheaper than living in America. Yeah. And when you came here, you had
a job,
real
like
job.
A 9 to 5, yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, that's the thing, like to move to another country, especially with a wife and a baby, to try to chase a dream is like, come on. Yeah, that's wild. So nothing on the books right now. I got an email through my website to do a private event for a company. like the number that they put in the questionnaire, I was like, yo, all right. You know what I mean? Do I Google this company? Like, I don't know if it's going to happen or not. I hit them, like, somebody hit them back and we haven't heard back from them yet. I don't know if it's going to happen or not. But the number that they were talking about, I was like, okay, this could really alleviate some of the stress for a minute. For long enough to come up with another game plan. Like, I'm going to have to change the way I do business, basically, I think. And it's mostly about Gaza. It's mostly talking about Philistine. The reason that I have to...
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It like is that. But then I had to ask myself, do I Google this company? And I Googled them and I was like, okay, it seems okay. But I was thinking about Riyadh Comedy Festival and I'm like, man, like I've known people that are doing really well, that are like on paper, they're millionaires. And the way that spending can catch up with you and the way your taxes can catch up with you. Because I think it's easy to say like, man, they don't need the money. And some of them don't. I just happen to search my email for those because those come in as submissions through my website. And they're just in a long list of other things that come from the website. It's random people saying, yo, Brother Ali, thanks for doing the song so-and-so. I was like, man, let me go through these and see if there was like...
see what I can find.
Yeah, because like maybe at the time somebody sent something and they're like, hey, would you come here for this amount? And I was like, I didn't even answer because I'm like, nah, I can't do that. But now I'm like, maybe I can. So I started looking... Somebody hit me up saying, I can connect you to Middle Beast, which is the music version of the Riyadh Comedy Festival. And I never responded. And they didn't put a number in, but on the thing where it says, is there a financial offer? And it said, yes, an extremely generous one. And like, we never followed up on it because I was like, nah. And it's wild too, because like, I know people.
Beyond your wildest dreams.
Just like, don't just like stop it. You know what I mean?
Shut
like,
up. You will say yes when you see the number.
Yeah. I'm kind of glad the number wasn't on it because I'm like, yo, we you know what I mean? Like, I want to have a good opinion of people. Even people, like whether it's people that I know and love or just people in general, artists, you know what I'm saying? But like the thing that makes it difficult is that when they defend it, none of them talk about the key issue to me.
That's the same thing for me. I'm just like, man, I have friends who've done things I wouldn't do or I don't agree with or whatever. That's not even the issue to me. It's the BS excuses and the gymnastics and all this other stuff that's annoying.
They divert from the basic point. Okay, there is a government in the world. It doesn't matter which one it is. A government is specifically doing like an entertainment campaign to smooth over, and it's that government that's inviting you. They're offering you more money than you've ever made in your entire life. At some point, you have to put two and two together and realize all of us participating in this thing is very, very valuable to a government that's trying to clean up its image, no matter what government it is. So when people are like, you're saying that America is better than... No, but if I was invited...
It's such an obvious point. Like, it pisses me off so much when people play this card. You know what the criticism is. So just stop playing this stupid game.
That's the part that makes it hard for me to make excuses for the people that I love.
Then I think, oh, you're disingenuous. Like I'm like, you're not so dumb that you think that that's what people are saying. And especially
when these people are so great at critiquing all this other stuff. And like suddenly you lose all your ability.
First of all, if you just say you did it, you did it. Or listen, man, it's none of your business and... I didn't feel great about it, whatever. But when you start taking like very obvious things and deflecting and manipulating, the criticism, then I'm just like this.
Trying to make it morally positive by saying like, this is how we bridge culture.
They've never experienced this before. This kind of, come on, man. Or Bill Burr. Bill Burr was like, hey, I thought people were going to be coming at us with machetes, but they have a Chili's out there.
And
dude,
and they
what
drink.
Century are you in,
they're just out there drinking. Yeah, and I noticed that the hot ones got the burqa a little bit lower. Top 3 experience of my life. It was awesome. It was, And then one of the, I think Aziz Ansari said he's donating a bunch of the money, and it's like, okay, don't try to turn it into a morally positive thing. And then Human Rights Watch
said they can't accept his money.
They wouldn't accept the money. I got invited. There's a Muslim organizer, I won't say his name, and he invited me one time. Do you want to come to Morocco with a bunch of the Muslim artists? We're going to go play in Morocco. Everything's covered. It's all paid for. We're going to go do this like artist exchange thing. And I'm saying, and like, he was down with people that could get really cool stuff funded. So I was like, dope. Yeah. I just happened to hear from Davey D, He just did a radio special about the jazz artists that were sent as ambassadors from the U.S. government.
Yeah, by the State Department. Yeah.
Yeah. And he was like, yeah, so the State Department would send, and typically when they'd send people, they try to find like a respected artist. That's who they want because they're trying to smooth over some terrible thing they're about to do in that part of the world.
Racism in America is getting, a lot of coverage.
Yeah.
No. Actually, it's cool. Look.
Yeah, look at these happy creative blacks. Look how.
Yeah.
Oh, now they love Kanye. Put him on their front and stuff.
Even Nina Simone ended up on one of those.
I know.
And she didn't know.
I know that.
crazy.
Yeah, no, I'm saying, and this is what I'm saying. Like, Richard Pryor being connected to Huey and them.
Yeah.
I know Davey D. And Davey D talked about it, so I knew to specifically ask that question. If I didn't ask that question, I probably would have ended up on the trip not realizing that's what it was. So I was like, hey, this isn't part of the State Department thing, is it? And then I got weird answers, and so I didn't do it. But I know a bunch of my friends that did it. I used to get, in Minnesota, there was an Indian reservation, Native American, First Nations, indigenous reservation. Like the homies at the res would hit me up all the time, would you come do a show? But they didn't have a club. There was like no place to do an actual concert. So like later when I got more into organizing, I actually bought a little mini PA. Like I bought my own sound system that I could bring.
Mobile, yeah.
Yeah. And like that's what I should have done. That would have been so much doper. I'm like, yeah, I want to come. I just need an invitation. One of them was connected. They had a casino there. And so the casino invited me and they offered me a lot of money, more than I would have got for performing in that thing. And I did it. And so my condition was like the people at this organization on the res, they got in free with the whatever. You know what I mean? But it's like, yeah, at the end of the day, I can say that though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I can say like, no, I don't mess with casinos. I don't like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I can say they offered me money and I took it. Sometimes you're not aware of a better solution.
Yeah.
And to me, it's like, that's acceptable. You're a person. Like everybody's trying to figure stuff out.
But also the casino didn't say, hey, you're not allowed to talk about this, this, and this.
No, yeah, I did Uncle Sam Goddamn and I did all that stuff.
It's so not on the same scale.
I mean, it is kind of because I'm like, okay.
Or because
the homies on the res invited me. You know what I'm saying? On the res, they're allowed to have a casino because of the fact that the government did them dirty for so many generations. But then they got these other corporate people that come in and set up the res. And the community, they get kickbacks and stuff, but it's like, dude, this casino gives these little minor checks to people in the community to just try to pacify them so they don't actually demand what's theirs, which is all this got. So it's like, this is just pacifying the people, which is a similar thing with the Riyadh comedy thing where like, man, these guys are just doing what governments do. So yeah, man, that was just to me, there are certain moments that come along and just prove like, oh, we don't have a movement.
We don't have a movement. We don't have like a core set of things that we agree on.
But we have a musician friend who's from our community who was offered a lot of, he told me how much.
Yeah.
He called me and he was like, yo, they just offered me a life-changing amount of money.
Yeah.
Like this year will be way different from my last 10 years.
Yes.
To go play the music version of this, which is Middle Beast.
Yes.
The music festival in Riyadh. And he's like, I can't do it. I know if my team, if my family, if the people around me knew I was turning down this money, because I'm turning down this money on their behalf too. Because, these people do take care of their families and you know what I mean? But he was like, man, I just could not. I wouldn't recognize myself in the mirror if I took this money. I would feel like, because man, that's the number one thing, and that's the thing that Preach took. I know anybody that will listen to Preach, he's like, man, the second they find out what your thing is.
He told me that too, man. He told me that too.
They're going to try to get you to go against that thing.
Well, sorry, I misunderstood what you said. He told me everyone has a number.
Okay.
He told me everyone has a number.
Okay.
And he said, you need to decide what that is.
Okay.
Not then, now. You need to know what it is, because if you're not ready, they're gonna get you.
Oh man, I just saw Preach when I was on tour. You know that really horrible tour that I had where it was like everything was going wrong and everything.
Yeah.
Me and my daughter got deported. I don't say her name in public, but like we got deported.
Yeah.
I had just had surgery. We were evicted from our building, and there was an earthquake, and I'm not making any money. And so I know Preach is gonna understand. Preach isn't rich, and Preach starts to go in his pocket. He goes, "You need some ends."
Oh man!
Like he was about to go in his pocket and just hand me money.
Oh man!
What Preach told me is like, man, he's like, let me tell you, he's like, you're a person of principle. So what they're gonna do with you is they're gonna find out the one thing that you're holding on to, and they're gonna try to get you to get rid of that. And then something he told me that I forgot until now, that he was like, man, you don't ever have to do anything to harm them, the government or like the industry.
Yeah.
He's like, if they know that you know the truth and you're not afraid of them, you're just as dangerous as if you blew up the whole thing.
Right. Right, 'cause
You are
you're
absolutely
potential, yeah.
dangerous. And when I think about the way that I'm treated by these like industry people, I'm going to say free Palestine. I'm going to say free Palestine from the river to the sea once every day is not negotiable. To me, that's enough to get it all shut down. And then also just, getting that knock on the door from the FBI on my birthday is like, you have demonstrated that you see things on some level for what they are, and you're not afraid of the consequences of talking about it. My first question is like, do you think I've ever hurt anybody? Do you think I'm involved in anything violent? It's like, they don't care about that. You know what I'm saying? That's a very naive question. Like, this ain't about that.
They're letting you know.
Yeah.
We're on to you.
Yes.
We know what you're.
Yeah. How did it feel to be on stage?
Man, so the shows were piggybacked on the Finkelstein.
Like the same days as the
night before. And it was 2 back to back because I'm performing like once a year at this point.
Yeah.
So like I wanted to film it. So it was 2 shows back to back with this great Palestinian comedian, Sami Abu Warda. He's Palestinian Irish. And he's amazing, man. He is amazing.
Whoa.
And so he's like a doctor, like an actual doctor who like has now gone full-time comedy, but he also went to clown school.
Oh my God.
He's incredible. So he does like very absurd, very silly, but very political stand-up. He won an award at Edinburgh recently.
Crazy.
It was nowhere near as bad as when I did the stuff after Gaza. That was like an hour of like intense, very complicated material that I was doing after years of not being on stage. That I was like really nervous about. This was like a lot more relaxed.
Did it feel like a continuation of the stuff you did last year?
Yeah. And I did it in the same place as well, which I think helped.
Man, I hate that we missed it. Because like the last one was more an announcement that like, because you were headlining.
Yeah.
You were doing like you did a full hour.
Yeah.
And so like a bunch of us traveled from other places.
That was crazy. People don't believe me when I say that. I'm just like, yeah, people came from Istanbul to
and
watch
Chicago
it.
and
Chicago. Shit, Jamali from Chicago, you and Ahmed from Istanbul.
Yeah, a bunch of folks. There was a bunch of people from other countries there.
That was once in a lifetime kind of thing.
You're making it once in a lifetime.
No, I mean just like
you're like, because I'll never do it again.
Everyone being there at once.
No, dude, the way that people respond to these other folks, we feel that way about you. I'm serious. But the thing is, you guys just got to do it enough. Like, give us something to, you know what I mean? Like, give us more stuff.
I have maybe the riskiest clip coming out tomorrow.
Okay. Where there's not an industry at all for what you do.
But I find that very liberating now. Like for a long time, that was like a hindrance for me.
Yeah.
And now that I'm like not beholden to it in any way, and I don't rely on it for income.
Yeah.
I'm just like, so I can just do whatever I want.
But yes. But why not go crazy?
You're like, yes.
But like, why not go crazy then? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm saying like, I look at like Doom, being like, okay, I'm out the industry. You know what I mean? Like Doom got a record deal. He did all the stuff. Mm-hmm. It turned out how it turned out. His brother was his partner. His brother died. So he's like, all right, I'm just going to put this mask on and just bug out. You know what I mean? And I toured with Doom when he was alive. I was on the Food tour when like the only famous person that gave a damn was Yassine Bey.
Yeah.
Nobody cared.
Yeah.
Like all these people now that are like, we love Doom, our brother Doom. Like, man, I don't remember you being around.
Yeah.
Nah, but I'm saying, but Doom was on some like, man, I guess if I'm just going to be this thing all by myself, I might as well just go crazy.
Yeah.
So he did a lot. You know what I mean? That's the only thing that I'm like, man, it would be really dope if there was like, if you could very often see you and Aamer just with 30 people, or, you know what I mean, in a room.
But I think even if I did something like London more frequently, maybe like every quarter.
Well, because there's 8 places you can do in the UK alone. Even if you're in a room with 40 people, like that's you working and you're recording it and you're like developing stuff and you're like sharpening it. And
I mean, honestly, shout out to Awate because after I did that stuff after Gaza, then like I was exhausted as well. Like it was, editing all that stuff together, putting it out. Like it's literally just me and, Ruben helping me.
Yeah.
After that, he wanted me out there for a fundraiser. So that made me like I had to write again, get on stage again. That I think kind of really broke the ice for me, where I was like, okay, this thing's coming up. It was also timing wise. It was like just after Mamdani got elected.
Yeah.
And just when all this Palestine action stuff is happening.
Dude,
so
you know how cute you're making the That's what I'm saying, man.
I got another one. I got a whole clip about how much my dad loves Zohran. And then like the messages he sends, like he sends me his like breakdowns of like Zohran's victory speech and like his reviews and feedback. But yeah, I mean, have you seen the Palestine action stuff in the UK?
Yeah.
Like
they're coming to people's houses. And
yeah, they've arrested 2,000 people.
I didn't know that.
But they're planning now like mass protests.
Yeah.
Because the police are getting exhausted. Like the police are embarrassed that they're dragging away. There's like an 83-year-old priest, a woman, who they had to arrest. And it's just literally like it's these, and a lot of them are old people, like just the sweetest grandmas or grandpa, and they're all holding the same sign. I oppose genocide, I support Palestine action. And the police have to come and read them this whole thing under, this section 13 of blah, blah, blah. What you're doing is considered, support for a prescribed organization. Will you put down the sign? And they're like, no. And they're like, will you stand up? And they're like, no. And then they have to like carry them away. And, everyone claps, and it's absurd. It's actually absurd. But the people that they've actually arrested for doing the actual sabotage, like spraying paint on the planes or like breaking into the factory or whatever.
Yeah.
Man, they're young. They're like 19, 20, some of them. And they're saying they're going to be in jail for 2 years until their trial.
It's wild how much, like the other thing is like, the people that don't speak up, how much they say it doesn't matter. They're like, what's a Facebook post going to do? So like, I'm going to lose all this stuff. And I'm saying, and like, they criticize us for it. People telling us, like, I'm saying, like, I talk to elders and they're like, how's your career going? And I'm like, man, I mention Palestine every day and I can't get any shows now. And they're like, well, you should stop doing that. Do you think you saying that one time is going to end Palestine? Like, these people didn't think that. You look back on Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali's not going to the war did not end the Vietnam War. It's not like it ended the next day. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, no, all of the voices together that said something. When you have heads of the Zionist movement basically saying, like, we got to get our arms around, we got to get TikTok, we got to get...
Yeah, that's the new... I mean, that's one of the most incredible developments that's happened.
Yeah.
Their own technology has been the thing that's been their undoing. Yeah. And to break down the propaganda in real time.
Yeah.
When we were growing up, we just had to watch the news and then complain.
And sit there thinking like, am I crazy?
Yeah, exactly.
These people are lying. So how come nobody sees it? And like now you can get online and people are telling...
And Gen Z, like they do it, but they're also educating each other at a rate that's like unprecedented.
Yeah.
You know?
I was just thinking about Frederick Douglass. Frederick Douglass had this feeling that like there was a propaganda campaign happening about slavery at the time where people were like saying like the slaves are happy and look at the songs they sing and all this kind of stuff, and like we treat them good and we let them get married and we let them go to church and all this kind of stuff. And Frederick Douglass became aware of all this and realized like, man, if the average person knew the real day-to-day horrors of American slavery, there's no way they would support it. You know what I'm saying? And so he wrote his like all of his like seminal works in an attempt to just show people what slavery was really like. You know what I mean? And I think about like that's what's happening on social media. Like, would Bissam be Bissam if it wasn't for a bunch of like just random people sharing her stuff to the point where, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or like all of the main voices, very few of them were on Al Jazeera or something like that.
Yeah, of course.
Like most of the voices and most of the people and most of the things.
Just people.
Artists and activists and influencers and like, you know what I'm saying? You just look at what these arguments are against what we're doing. And like, you look at the people that won't acknowledge, I don't want to make that sacrifice. That's a big check. And I just don't want to not get that check.
I'm gonna mess it up.
Yeah, man. Special thanks to my dear friend Aamer Rahman, man. I kind of just had to run the Wrap It Up B music because I mean this part of the conversation in particular is one that's going on for years of me just saying to him like, dude, we need you in these comedy streets. We need you out here doing comedy. And I mean, you hear the fact that, you know, Aamer has a day job and he's able to support his family. And I mean, it's just it's just deeply heartbreaking and stressful to put ourselves out here and to do our art and our work, especially when we're in a shrinking industry and circle and community, and he and I share a particular view, even within some of the larger communities that we're in. And so that's this particular conversation. It's a really off the cuff conversation, very kind of frank, honestly. I usually don't say other people's names in this podcast or in any of my public setting unless I'm very clearly and adamantly agreeing with them and giving them their flowers. In this case, there are people that we love, and so we're speaking about them because they are our family, they are our community. And so the fact that within a community you're going to have people that approach things from different directions and with different perspectives, and sometimes they make different choices. And so I hope it's okay that we're able to air this conversation as is, and not have to worry about people misunderstanding and things like that. That all of this is said in a genuine and sincere attempt for the two of us to talk through and work out how isolating and alienating it can feel. Sometimes to take a very particular, what some may consider to be a hard line stance on certain things. And also I hear, and I just want to point this out, that I want it to be heard and understood that a lot of what we're saying here is that we've all had to make, that I have also made decisions that I look back on them and I'm like, did I do the right thing? But what's challenging is when there's not an acknowledgement of what the critique might be. I think that's the frustration, just to be very clear, that he and I, for, the people that chose to do, various things like the Riyadh Comedy Festival, for example, that when they're offering their side of why they chose to do what they do, there's just, it's almost like we're being gaslit a little bit. It feels that way with acknowledging the very specific, I would say the 2 points are, number one, that this is very obviously, music and comedy festivals being thrown by a king and a government to smooth things over for some of the challenging things that they've done. That this is being done specifically by the government. Not that it's just taking place inside of the boundary of a country, but this is being something that's being done by the government, and they're spending a tremendous amount of money to do so because it's in their interest to try to project a good image, to cover up some of the things that as governments happen, on the dark side, on the night side, on the grimy side of governing. And so that's one of the points that seems to be missed. The other one is that it was a very clear stipulation that the comedians that went into that situation were not allowed to critique that government. And so they signed on to that. They took very large paychecks to do it. And so, it's fine to have differences of opinion, but I think the thing that's really maddening and challenging for the people that do not take that money, for people who do not, or who prefer not and try not to be in those specific situations, it's hard to hear the kind of dismissal without really even an acknowledgement of what the critiques are. You know what I'm saying? And I brought up just a few of the times, but I mean, another one is the fact for me is that our music is streaming on Spotify. I just dropped another new project and it's on Spotify. Spotify, we know, has been robbing artists for a long time. The CEO of Spotify is somebody that makes profoundly more than any of the artists that's the top streaming artists. So, Mr. Eck makes more than, Drake or Rihanna or Taylor Swift or any of the artists that are streaming. And also has invested that money in weapons, in AI weapons that are made to, kill people at the behest of governments, and also has been using Spotify to run ads for ICE. And I just want to point out that a dear brother of ours named Gabriel Teodros, who's been a guest on the podcast, I might actually bring him back to ask him his thoughts now, because when some of this stuff was announced, Gabriel made a really thoughtful, beautiful post that echoed a lot of the things I was thinking and feeling, which is just really wrestling with that. Do I take my music off Spotify? And all the things that we have to think about and consider. And Gabriel at that time chose to keep his music on Spotify, as have I. I don't control all of my catalog, by the way, but I do control Actually, I only control a couple of the releases, honestly. But the newest one is on Spotify, and me and Brendan had that conversation. Brendan has chosen not to have his own personal music on Spotify. The music that he controls, Black Box Recovery, which is the album that came out on our label, Travelers Media, a year ago. We just celebrated the anniversary of that, and it's on streaming, but he chose not to put it on Spotify. The thing that our brother Gabriel Childros was talking about is the fact that the other streaming services aren't necessarily better. Like there's Apple. I mean, Apple is complicit in the genocide and in a number of horrible practices around the world, multiple, genocides. And then also the other streaming services as well. And so the thing that we're kind of balancing is, if we take our music, we're small artists, and there are some of the only ones with this kind of message. If we take our music off of Spotify, it just means that music like ours, where we struggle to be heard and acknowledged that it even exists, you know what I mean? Then that music no longer is available in the place where people continue to go for their music. So it's a challenge, you know what I'm saying? But in that decision-making process, that decision-making is done in the open, and in full acknowledgement of what all the downsides are, and in full acknowledgement of what all the critiques are, and not looking to divert or gaslight those things as though they're not real, which is what I think a lot of us felt, about not only the comedy festival, but also the Middle Beast festival that's thrown under the same kind of conditions, So, this is a very kind of rare waters for us to tread into in the Travelers Podcast. And so just wanted to make it clear that that's why we did it. I dropped a new album, Uskudar Sessions, produced entirely by me. You can go to brotherali.com and get the vinyl. And there will be CDs up there very soon if they're not there already. There just was a couple last minute details that we needed to make sure everything was fully in place before putting those up on the site. Go to brotherali.com, get the Uskudar Sessions records before they're gone. They're very nice. They're beautiful colors. It's music that really comes from the soul. It's music that I didn't sit down and write like I do with most of my projects, but I would make the beat, and as I was making the beat, I would think of a few bars at a time, which is a really different way to construct songs. And it's super dope. So go and check all that out. Also, while you're there, sign the mailing list so you don't miss announcements. We don't sell your data. I don't spam you. And also hit up that caravan. If you want to help support artists that are out here trying to do our best to stay true to our message and to our ancestors and to the people that have left this thing for us, and doing so imperfectly, but with sincerity. And always, please like and share and subscribe and all that stuff. And you can leave comments where you disagree. Tell me where I'm wrong. What we're not going to do is just have a full-on ugly name-calling arguments in the comments. I do delete those comments just because there's plenty of places on the internet to argue. But, constructive disagreement is always welcome. Much love to you all. We'll see you next week, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.